So today we're going to start with the simulation. Two things I should have covered last week that we didn't finish were estimation, velocity, and burn down chart. So while we're doing the simulation, I will explain those two and we'll get through it. Okay, so let's start with the simulation. Okay, I'm gonna be sharing my screen. Okay. One second, I want to show I'm sharing the right screen. So I'm trying to make sure I can see everyone, trying to open up my chart. Okay, I think we have that. So I'm going to Confluence. So this is Confluence, and we're going to be using Confluence. So why are we using Confluence? So we're using Confluence for documentation, for collaboration. These are the tools we're going to be using. This is one of the most common tools you're going to be using in your organization for collaboration. So what we are trying to do is, like, if we're given a new project to start with, so we're starting a new initiative. I gave you the initiative to take home to look at it. So I believe everyone has looked at the initiative. So when I start talking about the initiative, you know the initiative we're talking about. So I'm talking about the Flaky, right? The owner of Flaky Music, a small neighborhood in the, that has a music store, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you have read that, you understand that, okay, that's an initiative. They would like to put their online music, put their music store online, right? So he has a shop in the neighborhood, but they are trying to transition to online because of pandemic. So that means they want to move online. So now this is a new project. This is something new. You don't have it before, right? So you are starting a new project. So if you get to an organization, first thing you want to do is you want to find out from the team what tools they are using for collaboration, right? Most of the organization will tell you they are using Jira and they are using Confluence. So what do they use Confluence for? They use Confluence to document their artifacts, for collaboration, for those are the main thing they use it for storage, you know, everything that has to do with the project, they use Confluence, right? And they use Jira for tracking the stories of what they want to deliver, the stories, the features, the epic. That's what they will use Jira for. So I'm going to start with Confluence. So when you get to the organization, the first thing you want to ask for your request for your team is you want to request a space. So for most organizations, they will be using the enterprise version of Confluence, and Jira is the same thing. There's nothing different. Enterprise just means that the license agreements that they are going to be signing for, right, is cheaper in terms of they will have an agreement with Atlassian, right? So it's cheaper. It makes a lot of sense for them, right? So when you get there, one thing you want to start with, especially if it's a new project, if it is an existing project, what you will require is for you to be added to the Confluence and the Jira, right? For that team, right? You will first request access in the organization for you to have access to their Jira and Confluence. After that, you now ask your team to add you to their own space, their own Jira and Confluence space. So when you say things like that, they know that you know what you're talking about, that you want to be added to the space. Sorry, where is that coming from? Can you hear the noise? Hello?
No.
What noise?
Oh.
There's no noise from here, Florence.
Okay. I was hearing something.
No noise from here?
Okay. I thought I heard the phone ringing, so I got confused, like what's happening there? Okay. So let's go back to normal. So you request for a space, right? I think it's my conference that is making that noise. They said they can't hear any noise, but I can hear noise. Sorry, 1 second. I can hear noise, so I'm trying to stop it. Okay, I think it stopped. I think it was YouTube. Okay, so this is what we call space. And so what I want to do now is I want to create a space. So Scrum Master, Product Owner, this is one of the things you will be doing for your team. So you are going to be the one creating the space, right? So for most organization, if the initiative is already existing, you are not creating any space, okay? But you will just be added to that space. So in this scenario, we are starting from the beginning. That's why we are creating a space. So now you will be the one to create a space. So when you get to Confluence, you will see home, you'll see recent, you'll see spaces, you'll see people, you'll see app templates, then you can create. I'll show you what you create. So for us to create space, you go to under spaces, right? You'll create a space. You can see different spaces that have been starred here. It means that these are the different spaces that I have access to, that I've created over time, right? So if you click on all these spaces, you will have access to the information on that space, okay? But we are imagining things and starting from the beginning, right? So we're going to create our own space. So what kind of space do you want to create? Do you want to create a knowledge-based space? Do you want to create a documentation space? Do you want to create a team space, a software project space, right? You can create anything. Most time I create a blank space. So for a change, maybe we should create a software project space. So it doesn't matter. You can do a blank space and your team can work on it, okay? So it's asking me that what would be our space name, right? So let's say we are working on Flaky music application, right? So that will be our space name, so that anybody within the organization, everyone within your team knows that you're working on Flaky music application. So when they go to that space, they know the space to go to get documentation relating to Flaky music application. The space key will automatically come up for you, right? It will just it's just like a unique key for your space. So anytime you see that when we start creating stuff, anything that, even when we go to Jira, you just a unique name to link for anyone looking for your space. But most time when I'm looking for space, I type the name of the space or I star it so that every time I need to go there, I can quickly go there. So you can do the same thing as well. So you put the details, right? Flaky music application is a neighborhood business that is transitioning online. Okay, then create. So it's telling me to specify the Jira, but I've not created the Jira already. So maybe we'll use the one I have already before. So I'm putting this as the Jira board. So what happened there is that it's telling me that do I want to link, like I should link the Jira for this space I am creating, right? I should link the Jira space. That's what it's asking me. But I don't have a Jira space. So what I did was to link it with what I already have before. Okay, so now we have our space. Oh, so what I did now by linking it is showcasing all the Jira issues that I have on that on the Jira board. I'll show you the Jira board shortly. It's showcasing all the things I have there. So if I created a new Jira, you know that there'll be nothing here, right? So anytime I create an issue in Jira, it will automatically pop up here. Okay, so I'll show you how to create a Jira, don't worry. So it will automatically pop up here, okay? So it's popping up here now because we have a Jira that exists already, okay? So now we've created our space. So one thing you want to do is when you are starting a new project, something that does not exist before, there is something we call initial planning and readiness. You know, I told you that before we start the sprint, you first need to do initial planning and readiness. So that's what we want to do now. We want to go into initial planning and readiness. So what you're going to do for your team, let me first go here. This is like your own page. You can change it the way you like, right? So what does that mean? You can add your team members here, right? So if you want to do anything here, you come here, you click edit, right? So what does that mean? You can update anything you want to update it. This is your front page. You can say, okay, we want to be seeing all our roadmap. We want to see all our Jira issues or we want to see all our epics. You can put all that here. You can add your team member's name. Let me see if I have that. You get so okay, I'm the only one here. So you can add it here. You say Scrum Master. You get what I'm saying? So when you use the @ sign, it will bring out all the people in your team, right? You keep adding them, right? It's showing champ. I'll tell you how this champ came about. Is when you create a group, a squad, right? So you can add that squad to your status. So you can just say the team member just to show all the members working on your team. So you use the @ sign to do that. If you have a lead, maybe or a sponsor, you can change the header. It doesn't have to be what is there, right? You can change it to what suits your organization. Maybe the sponsor of your project. You know, where you have this stuff here at the beginning here, you can even remove it. I can delete it. Right? I can decide I want to put a picture, maybe a picture of our team. So I can go to, I can insert images. You get what I'm saying? So you can, I'm trying to see if I can get any image to add there. Okay, I'm just using this as an example. So you can insert images, maybe your team image, add a caption, you know, put all that. So this roadmap will be updated when you finish doing your initial planning and readiness. So you can, when you finish updating your front page, you can design it and publish, right? So anytime anybody goes to your page, that is what they will see. That's the first thing they will see on your page before they start going into your details. So now we want to start initial planning. So these are pages here. For you to create your initial planning, you need to create a page, right? So you can use this plus sign to create a page, or you can create a page using the create at the top. So you create a page, you say, this is your initial planning and readiness. So if you have a product manager that is very familiar with Jira, then you won't have a problem. But if you don't have, it will be you have to help the product manager. That is you, the Scrum Master. So you need to also know how to use some of these tools as well. Okay, so now we have our initial planning and readiness. So what do I mean by initial planning and readiness? Initial planning and readiness is that phase where you do all the things. I'm coming to you, I'm saying, oh, this is Flaky. You are the product owner and you are the Scrum Master. Please, can you work on this Flaky project? So that's what we're saying. So the first thing I want to do is I want to have that here. So what do we do in initial planning and readiness? So that's where we'll start from. So what I'm going to do is to create a table to show you all the details of all the things we work in initial planning and readiness. So if you look up here, you'll see what the table looks like. If you just click on the table, it will give you the option to have your table. You can always add more columns to your table by using that plus sign. You can also add more rows by using this plus sign, right? You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller using the arrow signs at the side, okay? So now I'm making it smaller. So what do we do in initial planning? So let's start. So the first thing you do in initial planning is now, what that means is that they've assigned you as the product owner to that, for that project, for that product, right? So you're gonna start initial planning. So what do we do there? So the first phase of your initial planning, what you first do is what we call the discovery session with the product, with the sponsor. Discovery session with the sponsor. So this is the first thing you do. So what are we trying to do when we say we want to do a discovery session with the sponsor? What are we trying to do? We're saying that we want to meet with the sponsor. You have that information, but you don't really know what the details of what you need to do. You want to find out, right? It's saying that, okay, this is a neighborhood business, but because of COVID, we want to extend our business online, right? And they also want to have a mobile app. So you're trying to find out, okay, what should we, what do you want more? What would you like to see? You know, what are the things things like, oh, do you want us to be able to pay by Interact? Like, just discover. When you say discovery, you're trying to find out more about what you are trying to build for that sponsor. You want to know how long the sponsor is expecting it. If the sponsor is saying, oh, I think I want the first the MVP to be out in the next 2 months, right? You want to understand where the sponsor is coming from. What is the sponsor trying to do? So if you work in an organization, let's imagine you working in technology and you're trying to help one of the segments in the business area, right? So let's say you want to build a Salesforce application for them. So who are the members that will be part of that discovery session? So we have the product owner. The product owner is very key in this session because the product owner is the one that will be leading the requirement. So the product owner is the one representing the sponsor on the Scrum team, is the one representing the stakeholders on the Scrum team. So the product owner is very key. It's one of the members that will be part of the discovery session. The product owner might even be the one to schedule the discovery session. Okay, the product owner will be there. And why is the product owner necessary? Because the product owner wants to ensure that we are building the right things, right? So the product owner is very key. Who else is going to be part of this discovery session? We are going to have the BAs. The BA is going to be part of this session because the BA will help with documenting the requirements and helping with the mock-ups. Okay, so the BA is very key. So the product owner is asking questions, trying to dig deep and all that. Some product owners are very handy. As they're asking the question, they are documenting their requirement themselves. They are putting all the mock-ups together. Some situation, the BA is documenting all these details. In some scenarios, you don't even have, you are not the one doing the mock-ups, right? You are going to have a UX, UI designer. So depending on the organization you are working for, some people are going to be doing all this work together. That's what I'm saying. You'll be the BA and the UX, right? But if you are not, you can have BA documenting all the requirements. The UX designer is there so that it's trying to feel what the sponsors or the stakeholders. So when I say discovery session with the sponsor, it doesn't mean it's only the sponsor that will be there. The stakeholders too can be there, right? It's just that it's key. Who is sponsoring the project, right, must be there, right? You want to hear from them first, right? So the UX designer is the one putting all the user experience together, the user experience, those designs I showed you at the beginning, that which one is better, which one should we go for? They are the one putting that design together. They can use tools like Figma, they can use tools like Balsamic. So if you are if you're doing, let's say we're doing Salesforce, you can use Salesforce App Builder, right? We are not coding. We're just using App Builder to show what it will look like, right? So you have your UX UI on the team. You will also have your Scrum Master, because the Scrum Master needs to also be aware of what is going to happen in terms of when the Scrum Master is taking note of, okay, the product, the sponsors want this thing to be ready in 3 months. That means I have to make sure that the team is not complacent. They are doing the right thing. They are making sure everything is ready and all that. You also need to have your solution architect. So in some organization, you will not have them called solution architect. They will be called tech lead. So the tech lead is the person leading all the technical people, the developers, the front end, the back end, the full stack developers on your team, the data engineer, the solution architect. So the solution architect is when the sponsor is saying they want something like this. Oh, they want a mobile app that will be able to integrate with Alipay, with PayPal. Is the solution architect that will be telling them if it's possible, or if that integration exists, or we can do it, or we can't do it. So what is the solution architect focusing on? Is focusing on building the thing right? So he's trying to say that, oh, we might not do it that way. This is the way we should do it. So he's focusing on building the thing right. While the product owner is focusing on building the right things. What are the things that will give the sponsor value, right? What is the value that you're adding to the sponsor? That's what the product owner is focusing on. And the BA, the UX, the Scrum Master, they are helping. They are also asking questions to make sure that nothing is forgotten, to make sure that every other details are important. Now, we also have people who call the user research. So user researcher, so because in some organization, you might not have them as UX UI, they will call them user researcher. So I'm just giving you the different names they will call them, so that when you see it, you are aware of what the person's role is, okay? Let me check the chat. Do you do mock-up immediately? So there is something we call low fidelity and high fidelity, right? So at this point, you'll be doing things like low fidelity. So you can check it, you can read more about it. So you'll be doing things like low fidelity mockups, right? So the one you are thinking of is called the high fidelity mockup. That's when all the requirements are certain, you are going back to actually put the high fidelity mockup together, okay? So at this point in time, you'll be doing low fidelity mockups. I hope that's clear now. So this is what you focus on, right? During that discovery session, right? So what details? What are we trying to, I've already spoke about what we are trying to do here, right? We are trying to find out, you know what, let me put all this in one. Sorry, should I still talk about the others? Okay, so we have all these people in the discovery session. And I said there might be other stakeholders, right? People that are interested. So let me just put interested parties, right? That might also be interested in it, right? Now, what are the details, right? I already say what we're talking about. We are doing idea generation, right? So, and this idea generation can be from everyone, okay? So it can be from everyone. So even you as the Scrum Master, you are giving your ideas, everybody's discussing, they are looking at how things can work. Another thing you are confirming is you are confirming resources, right? You're confirming the resources that will be working on it. If we don't have enough resources, are we going to do contracting, right? To get more resource, right? Or are we going to be using internal resources? So this is when you are looking at it from the angle that the project have not started, right? So if the project has started, it is a different scenario, right? You are meeting the team in existence already, right? So now imagine this has not started. You as the product owner, you are looking at is this product feasible, right? You're trying to say, is it feasible, right? These are some of the things you are trying to find out. Is this product feasible? What we are trying to build, does it work, right? You're also looking at it like, will it provide value? And as the sponsor approved the financials, right? Or sometimes not approved, like something like either approved or committed, right? Committed. So is it committed to the financial? So those are the things you are focusing on. So you can read more about discovery sessions to see, when you're having the first initial meetings with the sponsors and the stakeholders to know all the things you need to work on. So that's the first item on the initial planning. Remember, we're talking about initial planning and readiness, right? You can't start a sprint if some things have not been put together, right? So the next thing you're going to do is pre-planning. This pre-planning doesn't end because it will keep happening, right? So what the pre-planning will, I have pre-planning, the Scrum Master, the product owner, and sometimes the tech lead, which they will call a solution architect in some places, right? So what are you trying to do here, right? You're saying this at this point, you're saying, okay, when are we starting? When are we starting this, the product? When should we kick off, right? When should we kick off? Let's determine the team's availability. So how do you determine team's availability? Like you're looking at it to say, okay, these are the resources that will be on my team. Let me find out if they're available now. Do they need to, is it something that they'll be able to work on? Are they working on other projects? Then you decide the starting date. So when that is decided, the next thing you want to do is set up a meeting. And setting up a meeting is the responsibility of the Scrum Master. So the Scrum Master is setting up a meeting, right? That meeting the Scrum Master is setting up is called a Sprint Zero meeting. What is a Sprint Zero? Who has heard about Sprint Zero? You can raise up your hand if you have heard about Sprint Zero. What is Sprint Zero?
Hi, Florence.
Yeah, Timmy.
Yeah, so I have heard about it, but I wanted to confirm if it's something that is because the Scrum Guide will tell you there is nothing like Sprint Zero.
Yeah.
And I know there should be that part when you have to plan for the sprint, but what then happens when sprint, what's it called now? Scrum Guide is saying there's no Sprint Zero. Well, I know you've mentioned it a couple of times, and so I wanted to clarify. I know it makes sense, but
So I know I told you that Scrum Guide is a guide, right? Is not complete. Is intended not to be complete, right? So that you will make it complete, right? So it's the same thing like the PMI book, the PIN book, right? The BABOK, right? It's not like you take BABOK and go to the organization and say, okay, I have this BABOK, body of knowledge, now I can do business analysis. No, right? You still have to put a process in place that will suit what you want to do, right? So the Scrum Guide is saying this is a guide for you, right? To run Scrum, right? Now, you cannot start running a Scrum, you can't start running a sprint if you don't plan, right? Even though that plan is you're not planning everything in full, you're not documenting all the requirements, but you still have to do that high-level planning. So Sprint Zero is what we call that high-level planning. Understanding that, okay, we are about, so some organization will not even call it sprint zero, right? So me, I'm calling it sprint zero because I'm used to calling it sprint zero. Some organization will tell you initial planning. They are doing initial planning. So every activity that comes under is initial planning. And when they are done with initial planning, they say, oh, let's start the sprint. Okay? So don't put it in your head that it's sprint zero. That's what I call it, right? Some people call it readiness, right? Project readiness. So when you get to an organization and you mention something like sprint zero, they will ask you, what is sprint zero? You can ask, tell them, oh, that's the initial planning phase and all that. They'll tell you, oh, we call it something. We call it this, we call it that, right? So depending on the organization, they have a name in which they call that. So they have a name, they call it, okay? So sprint zero is just that phase where you put, where you plan as a team, right? So when I say plan as a team, people that will be working on the project, where you plan together, okay? So that's what you do in sprint zero, right? Before you start sprint one, you have to even know the team. You can't say you are doing sprint one when you don't even know the team, right? So that is what you do in sprint zero. So the Scrum Master is your responsibility to set up that initial planning, okay? So who are the people that should be in that meeting? You want to have your product owner. You want to have the developers. So in this point, when I say the developers, they are all the people that will be working on the project, right? They are all people that will be working on the project. So that's the BA, the tech lead, everyone, right? Everyone working on the projects. Those are the people. The tech lead, your tester. Some organization we call this QA, right? Instead of tester, they call them QA, right? So those are the people you want to have on your team, right? Or your full stack. If you have a full stack developer, you have your data engineer. So those are the people you want to have. If you have UX, UI, depending on the kind of company you are working on, right? So those are the people you are going to invite for your sprint zero. Now you're going to invite stakeholders and you're going to invite sponsors, right? Especially for the first, either for the first meeting, just to, so some people will attend, some sponsors and all that. Does sprint zero produce an increment? No, sprint zero doesn't produce an increment. It will produce your initial backlog. It's your initial backlog that you will start with. Your sprint zero will produce it. How long will initial planning and readiness take? It depends on the organization you're working for. Sometimes it can take 2 to 3 weeks, mostly 2 to 4 weeks. So depending on the organization you're working for, right? So it might take up to 4 weeks. Some might take 2 weeks. So for example, let me tell you why I said 2 to 4 weeks. So let's say, oh, we are going to work on a project now. Inena, Jinad, Adeni, Temi, all of you, we are working on this project, and all of us are 100% committed to that project. What does that mean? When you say someone is 100% committed to that project, it means that when I resume work in the morning, my 8 hours is dedicated to that project. So if I set up an initial planning meeting in a day, and I set it up for, let's say, 3 hours, maybe 2 hours in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon, that means everybody's going to attend, right? And I set that up for 3 days. Everyone is going to attend, and we're going to finish our initial planning on time. But if Inena said that, oh, my allocation to this project is 20%, what does 20% mean? So you have to calculate 20% of 8 hours that Inena is going to use to work in a day to determine how many hours Inena can commit to that project on a daily basis. You get what I'm saying? So you cannot now say you want to do your sprint zero in 3 days when Inena does not even have that allocation to that project. You understand? So depending on the resources they are giving you, it will help you determine how long your sprint zero will take. Okay? So these are the people that will be in sprint zero. So as I said, sprint zero is the planning for the team. Get ready what we need to do, meet the team, right? These are the things you are focusing on, right? Now, when you do all this, right, for sprint zero I said between 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, right? So you also have an agenda from sprint zero. So let me just put it there. Sprint zero can take from 1 day to 4 weeks, depending on the team, on allocation and capacity, right? So that is what will help you determine what your sprint zero will be. So what will be your agenda for sprint zero? So I'm first going to list the agenda, then we'll now go through it, okay? So the agenda for sprint zero, the first one is you want to do team mobilization, right? So what do you do here? You want to meet the team. Number 2, you want to discuss the purpose of the meeting, right? You want to discuss the team norms, or you want to document your team norms. So now I'm calling it team norms. In some organization, they call it working agreement. So we call it working agreement, right? But in some of, in some part of the organization, they call it team norms. So when you get there, any name they call it, but it's the same thing, right? Team norms, working agreement is the same thing that will come out of it, right? You want to also document, you want to do your team priming, right? You want to do your skill matrix. Right? You want to do your, let's say, environmental and infrastructure readiness, risk, dependencies, and assumptions. So you want to document it. An assumption is something like you're saying that maybe you can say that, an assumption can be, we're doing this, but we know that COVID will never get back to normal. COVID will always be there. So it is important for us to have this online app, right? You are making an assumption, right? You have to document all those things, right? Then you discuss the product vision, right? You are also going to talk about condition. I've not even started, Ade, don't worry. I'm just listing all the things that, the details of what happens in sprint zero, okay? Stakeholder analysis. You are going to analyze your stakeholders, right? You need to document because you don't want to miss out anybody. Like, for example, when you're doing your sprint review, who are the people that you're going to send the information to, right? When you're gathering requirements, all those things, you want to ensure that you're not missing out on anybody, right? So after stakeholder, you want to brainstorm as a team and document the features breakdown. So Agile embraces team collaboration, right? They said they prefer team collaboration. So most of the things you do in Scrum, you do a lot of team collaboration. Even though there are some time you have to get your individual work to go and work on it, but there are a lot of team collaboration, right? Now, when you have that, you're going to have your product. That will help you with your, let me put initial product backlog, because your product backlog will not be static, right? You're going to now keep updating it from there, right? So you're going to have your initial product backlog. You're going to determine your velocity as a team. What velocity? Like initial velocity, right? Because your velocity will change over time. So for you to get an accurate velocity, you need to do the Scrum. You need to do your sprint like 3 to 4. Most times they will say average of 3 sprints. That is actually the velocity of your team. But before you start, you're supposed to determine what your initial velocity is as a team. Then you now start working from them. By the time you do 3, you will now be able to get the average and say this is your velocity as a team, right? You also agree on the cadence. So what do you know what I mean by that, right? Agree on that. Are we going to be doing a 2-week sprint? Are we going to be doing a 3-week sprint? Are we going to be doing a 4-week sprint, right? Determine your MVP. So before you can determine your MVP, if you have your initial product backlog, you need to estimate as well. You need to estimate the backlog, right? estimate the backlog in relation to the stories. I'll show you how to do that. Then determine your MVP. Then after that, this condition of satisfaction is like definition of done. But this definition of done is like the big definition of done, like the benefits of the project. How do you want to measure that you are successful on this project, right? Right. So you want to have that. Yeah, like success metrics. Yes, you want to have, exactly, that's the word. You want to have that, right? Then you determine your MVP. Then you have your, have I put initial backlog, your initial product backlog. Then after that, you also put your definition of done, like why you're working on it as a definition of done for each, like when you finish a sprint, how do you determine that you're done for that sprint, right? Then at this point, you just say, we're done. We're done. We're good to go, right? Now, you will have a final presentation to the team and the stakeholders. Because at this point, you will have been able to determine you'll have been able to determine what your MVP will be. And when will that release happen? Okay, which is your first release, right? When will that release happen? Which is release 1. Okay, so that is what you want to do. So this is what you do for your initial planning, right? After all this is done, then you can start the sprint. Some organization, they might not even wait to finish up the initial planning. When they just have, they've done all this, then they have their product backlog, and they can just say, let's start. So depending on the organization you are working for, right? But this is what is expected in your initial planning, right? Because you must have a release plan before you now start working on the development. Timmy.
Okay, Florence, thank you. So I wanted to find out, this process will occur if you're doing, it's a new project.
It's a new project. You are starting from afresh. If the project is already in existing, what will you do? Okay, Timmy, you are going to be working as a Scrum Master on a project that is already in existence. In short, we are in sprint 15, and I just recruited you to start working as a Scrum Master. What will you do?
Okay, so I mean, at that point, sprint 15 is just to kind of familiarize myself with what the product is, what has happened so far, where the point they are at, the product they're trying to deliver, because obviously they're just doing additional increments. So it's basically to have a discussion with the PO, find out where they are, and probably where they aim to be, and meet the team, check all the active apps that are available, and then, of course, know the velocity, all of the cool stuff that should be required. I will want to know, and then, yeah.
Okay, good job. At least you mentioned the things I want to hear. You mentioned the artifacts. That is very key. You mentioned that you have discussion with the PO, right? That is your starting point, right? You want to have that discussion with the PO, right? You also say you want to know where the team is, right? That means for you to know where the team is, you want to find out what their velocity is. You are going to look at their documentation. You look at their sprint burn down chart to say, okay, this team is doing well. You want to understand, are they high performing? But from the artifact, it will tell you. So what are the artifacts? The sprint backlog, the product backlog, and the increments. So when you are looking at all those details, it will tell you that this team is high performing and they might not need me that much. But when you look at those things and you realize that they need you, then you know that there's a lot of work to do, right? So you know what to do. So you got all that right. Discussion with the PM, going through all the artifacts. When I mean going through the artifact, you're going through it one by one. And guess what? As you're coming in new, you're going to understudy, right? Because the team already have a way of doing things, right? You're going to understudy so that you can bring improvement as a process owner, right? But if you don't understand it and just start changing things, the team will not be welcoming, right? So you first need to look at what they're doing, right, to see how you can improve it, okay? Joanne, I will explain velocity, okay? Babs.
Yeah, so I just want to mention also that it may not necessarily be an increment. It could be a transformative initiative.
Yeah.
You find yourself in the middle of it. So I just thought I should kind of throw it out there to Tammy. Okay. And if you find yourself there also, I think the approach is still similar. Basically, I think the key thing is to ask a lot of questions and find out who are actually beyond even the matrix and who are the decision makers that you need to influence and get in touch with. Sometimes there are even direct colleagues that can tell you what's exactly going on. You get more results from those ones than even the ones that are actually on paper.
Exactly. Like what I did when I joined a new team, what I did is I met the team one-on-one. Like I started scheduling like a 15-minute chat with everyone. I wanted to meet everyone personally, understand them before actually even just meeting them as a group, right? I was introduced to them, and after that, I started meeting with them one-on-one. Everybody would tell me their perspective. I would document it and all that. I started having understanding on the team. So Babs is very right. All your stakeholders are very, very important. Okay. So thank you, Babs. Okay. The number of story points they complete in a sprint over a period, it is an average of all sprints. Okay, so your velocity is, I wanted to explain it while we are doing the practical, but yes, Stemi has told you the meaning. So when we do our story pointing, right? So let's say you have a sprint now, right? For that sprint, you have stories, right? Those stories have been estimated. So let's say that you've given a story, let's say we have 5 stories. You've now estimated that story as 10. I'm just giving an example, 8, 10, 5, 6. When you have that, you total it together, all those 10, 5, 8, 6, right? You have 30 story points, right? So at that point, you're doing 30, right? So 30 story points, that's what you can achieve as a team. Next sprint, you did another 35 story points, right? So another time again, you did another one, right? So they will now say, okay, your velocity as a team is like you can accomplish about 35 story points, right? So initial velocity just means that this is the first sprint we're going to do. Let's say that we want to try and do 30 story points. That's your initial velocity, but it doesn't mean that your velocity as a team will be 30. So you have to do it over like 3-4 times to now say 3-4 sprints. You now say, okay, we actually can do 30 story points. Or no, we can't do 30 story points. By the time we did the average, one sprint we did 30, another sprint we did 40, another sprint we did 35. Let's average it. So our velocity as a team is 32, something like that. But we will do that while we are working on this, right? Okay. Tammy, is the rand still raised or that was from before?
It's from before. Put it down.
Okay. So now we have our agenda. So you, the Scrum Master, you set up your meeting. So Scrum Masters, right? I want you to be aware of something. Sometimes, right, you might be handling more than one team, as I said before, right? Always make sure you have someone that is a co-host for you in case you are running late, so that they can, always start the meeting. They can, why you can join them later. Okay, so always have someone that is a co-host for you. Okay, it's very important, especially because we're in the remote world. So the first one is meet the team, right? So now we want to meet the team. Everyone is there. So I'm going to show you a video of an example of how meeting a team can, how that happens. So I'll show you the video now and you watch it. Let me see how many minutes is this video. Okay. We'll just watch about maybe 4 minutes of it. Okay. So let me share my screen so I can show you the video. Okay, I first need to ensure that you can hear the share sound. Okay.
Welcome everyone, my name is Sally Olata and I'm so excited to welcome you here to this day in the life of an Agile team simulation. Now the reason we put this together for you, and trust me this was hard to get all these individuals here to make this happen for you, all of them are experienced from real world Agile teams. And the reason we did it is because most people that need to learn Agile either pick up a book or have to go to an actual training class, or they just learn on the go. They just basically go through fire and figure out what they're doing. And we thought, wouldn't it be nice if you could actually experience Agile, if you could see it and watch it through visioning, planning, brainstorming, estimating, sizing, a day in the life of an actual iteration, the daily function, this functional stand-up. Wouldn't it be nice if you could actually see that happen? Looking at this leadership triangle, there is a product owner, and they are the ones that take care of the business vision. What is it that we need to be working on, and why is it important to the team? There's a Scrum Master, some people call them the facilitator, Agile project manager, that person basically facilitates the entire process. They have to make sure that the process is healthy, that the team is not a command and control individual, it is a servant leader. And so we'll walk through that in more detail. We also have an architect, and the architect can also be referred to as the technical lead, as the solution subject matter expert. They're the person that have the technical vision. They basically translate that business vision into the technical vision. And then, of course, we have our team, and our team member is cross-functional. So we have BAs, QA analysts, developers, testers, everyone that's part of the team, business users, to actually execute the project. So now let me introduce you to our simulation team members.
Hi everyone, I'm Melissa and I'm your product owner for this project. I'm basically here to provide the requirements, help you understand, what's high priority, what should be in, what should be out, and also to help with the definition of done on the stories. And I will be the one at the end that says if this is really done or not, accepting or rejecting the work. So that's my role here today.
And Melissa, can we have multiple product owners, or is it just you?
No, I am your only product owner, so you're stuck with me for the duration of this project.
I'm Kelly, and I am your Scrum Master for this project. And what my role is to facilitate the processes, the meetings, all the artifacts, the different documents. I'm also here to serve you, servant leadership. So any impediments, if you get pulled out of this project to work on another project or a work assignment, let me know. Any type of impediment like that. I'm also here to help us have a healthy behavior for all our meetings, and also to have fun and make sure we're very successful.
Hi, my name is John. I'm going to be the architect on this project, and my central goal here is to make sure that we can translate the business vision into a technical architecture that will not only meet the needs of what we have from the product owner, but also so that it fits with our organizational framework. In addition to that, I'll be helping remove any technical impediments that we run across, as well as making sure that the rest of the team is productive and accomplishing all the tasks that we've set forth.
I'm Michelle. I'm the business user. I'm representing the people who are using this system, and I want to make sure that what you guys put in is better than what we have today. We're in a lot of pain, and I want to make sure that we can make this project successful and provide you with the business knowledge that you need to understand what we're going through.
Hi everyone, I'm Lucas. I'm the senior developer and team lead on this project. I've been with the company for a number of years and really understand both the back end and front end development. So my role is really going to be to provide the guidance and make sure that we implement the right technical solution. I'm a little skeptical of this whole Agile process, but my boss says that I need to be doing it, so I guess I'm going to try to jump in and learn it, but I'm pretty sure I can help make sure this project goes in the right direction.
Hi everybody, my name is Mo. I've been developing a lot of projects using BizTalk Server and SQL Server, and I'm going to be just providing my expertise on all the back-end development and making sure I complete all my tasks within the time.
And Mo, are you new to Agile?
Yes, I'm kind of new, but I'm really excited about joining this team and working like my first Agile project.
All right, my name is Jess. I am a front-end developer. I pair with Mo, and I'm going to be focused on the usability of the website, making sure that the people who interact with the agents and the agents themselves are able to get information quickly, efficiently, and that they really enjoy their job more and increase morale that way. So I'm focused on how they interact with things, as well as the process flow and making sure the data is available. So I'm somewhat new to Agile, but I'm looking forward to learning, and I just want to see success on the project. So.
Hi team, I'm Lisa, your project sponsor on this project. I'm Vice President of the Claims Department for those that don't know me. And as Michelle and Melissa mentioned, we are in some pain right now, so I'm really anxious to kind of see where this project takes us to, and hopefully you can resolve some of the issues that we're having. My main concern, as you all know, is going to be whether we deliver on time and on budget for this project. These guys are my eyes and ears, and I'm excited to see what we do.
And Lisa, this is your first project, Agile project as a sponsor, is that right?
This is my first time sponsoring an Agile project, so I am a little concerned on how you guys use the different processes and how we'll know whether we're going to be on time and on budget, but I'm willing to see where it takes us.
And we will help you through that.
Thank you.
So much.
I'm going to need it.
Great. Thanks for being here.
Hi everyone, my name is Summer and I'm going to be the business analyst on this project. So I'm really hoping to provide just bridging kind of the gap between the product owner and the team. We really want the team to get involved with me in facilitating meetings with the product owner, making sure that we understand the requirements. I understand some things about Agile requirement gathering as far as how to model things and do some of the processes. And so hopefully that will help explain to the team kind of what the product owner is looking at. So I'll be working with the product owner to make sure that we have our acceptance criteria 1 to 2 iterations ahead. And hopefully, if you guys need anything at all, I'd love to be here to help, and I'd like to bear with the developers as well as the QA to make sure that we get this project successful.
Hi team, I'm Mike. I am a developer, and my specialty is around.
Okay, so that is what you experience when you talk about meeting the team. I hope that is clear, right? So you put it together and everyone, they're meeting the team, right? So they go through that process of meeting each other, knowing what they are planning to do. They are going to be working on, everybody introducing their role. Okay? Diola, your hands are up.
Yes, thank you, Florence. I want to ask, what is the relationship between Jira and Confluence? When you were creating the space, I noticed, there was something on that pop-up that says Jira Server and System Jira. So I'm trying to understand that relationship.
When I was creating the Confluence?
The space, yes.
You can link your Jira and Confluence together. So that was what it was asking me, that do I want to link like my Jira here, right? You can create Jira. Jira is separate, right? So this is Jira for you. Let me show you Jira. So this is Jira and this is Confluence. But this Confluence and Jira, they can be linked together. So if I open Jira, this is what Jira looks like. And you can create a new project. You can create a new project, and it will ask you that you want to create a Kanban project or a Scrum project. Okay, so we're going to get there when we have our initial backlog, right? At this point, we are more bothered about documenting all the processes, all the things we want to work on. So that's what we are still doing.
Okay, thank you.
Is it clear? Okay. Erica, there are also meeting notes in Jira in Confluence, right? So if you click here, you see meeting notes. You can also say create meeting notes, and you have different kind of meeting notes you can create, right? So there are a lot of templates in Jira that in Confluence that you can use, okay? Only if the organization you are working for already have a template, then if they say use that template, you can use that template and also just attach it to your Confluence page, okay? So what we just finished now is, so I'm gonna copy this. And under initial planning, you can see I'm under initial planning, and I'm going to create a page. So what I did is I created the page under initial planning. I called it checklists. This is not compulsory. I'm just doing it to help me create a checklist for this, okay? Like it, like action items, right? Okay, so we're done with that. So the next thing you want to do is you want to talk about what the purpose is for this project, right? So the Scrum Master, you're leading this, or sometimes you can give this to the product owner to talk about, right? So what will you just be talking about? You're just saying that I'm creating another page, and I want to call it purpose, right? So you want to talk about the purpose, like why are we here? Why are we doing the meeting? What are we, why are we here, right? So you want to talk about that. So what's the purpose of what we are doing, right? So the product owner can talk about it, or the Scrum Master will start it, and the Scrum Master will say, okay, maybe think like the purpose here today is for us to discuss about the flaky app, So, but before we go ahead, we want to discuss what we need to do. We want to set out the ground rules. We want to do our team norms, right? So how we're going to be working, so that, those kind of information, right? You want to document it, right? So that's what you're trying to do. So the product owner will talk about that purpose, right? So the product owner will talk about that purpose, right? So now, after we've discussed the purpose, we've agreed that, okay, this is why we are here, this is what we want to do. Then you now say, okay, can we put together a team norms? We've done team norms before, right? But just to refresh our memory, I'll let us just talk about team norms, right? Team norms are just working agreement, like how do we want to work, right? How do we, what are the things we should consider while we are working together? Right, that's what we want to consider. So at this point, you're doing your team norms as an organization. So you can use Confluence, right? So as a team, everybody will have access to Confluence, right? So you can just use Confluence to document your team norms, right? You just like, let's say, for example, you created this page now for team norms. So I'm going to show you an example now. So I'm going to create a table and call this table our team norms table, right? Right? And I'm going to just give it headers, right? Now, if you click this link and send it to everyone, right, they'll be able to access this. I mean, if you send it to everyone on your team that have access to Confluence already, they'll be able to click on that and start documenting this working agreement easily, right? They'll start documenting it, and everybody can go in at the same time and document it. Confluence will put everything together, and you will not have it. But in most organizations, they are very mature. You might not use Confluence first. You might use another collaboration tool. So another collaboration tool called Mural, right? So Mural is, for those people that have access to my Mural, you can log in and help document team norms, okay? So if you come to Mural is a tool, right, that you can use to do any sort of things you want to do, right? I was referring more to taking minutes in a meeting. If you haven't gotten someone to take them for you, is it okay to record? And if yes, can you suggest a quick translate to text tool from recording to text? Some organizations don't agree with recording. So it depends on the organization you are working for. It depends on the group you are working for. Some groups don't even allow, right? It depends on your team, right? There are some meetings, they'll say, yes, let's record so that for people that are not here, they can watch it. And some teams, you can't do it, okay? So it depends on the team you are working for, okay? I've worked in organizations that don't allow you to do all that, right? So you can, okay, let me look for let me search for. So in Mural, you can search for templates, right? So I'm trying to see if I can get a template for team norms. Or you can create a blank one, right? To do your team norms. Can we get the link for logging into Mural? Okay, let me see if I can give you the link. 1 second. Okay. Thinking of something. Think if I can give you a link. One second. Let's see. It's going to ask me to add you to it. Let me see if I can do that. Create a blank canvas. Okay, let me see. If it accepts you, fine. If not, that means it's going to tell me to add you. Let me see. Use that link if it allows you. Okay, so I'm creating a blank here. So what I'm saying is I'm saying that give me a blank space. I'm going to update it by myself, right? So it's created a blank space for me, and I'm going to put working agreements. So for those people that have access, if they click on it, it's going to take them to this page. Gosh. It's going to take them to this page, and you have access. So we can now start documenting. I can see some people on. So you can now start documenting the working agreement. So as a group, what should be our working agreement, right? So this is your group that is working together, right? Now they are documenting the working agreement. You come over here at the side, there's a place called text. You come here, you pick a sticker note and take it in to document. Then you can now write on it. So everybody is working together. I can see people in, I can see TK, I can see Timitokwe, I can see so people are in, right? So you take it, just come here. Don't come to, you'll see this text here. There are sticky notes. You see a circular sticky note at the side here. So you pick your sticker, come in here and start documenting, right? So if I say respect each other's opinion. So most organizations will have this kind of board where you can do your working agreement together as a team, right? So you want to learn tools that you can use to do that. So as you can see, people are in. I can see Ella, I can see I can see a lot of people because you log in as visitors, so it's giving you different names here, right? Ladybug, different names, right? So I can see Muradeke. You document your working agreement. So after, let's say, you want to give them time for them to be able to document their.
I'm sorry, Florence. How did you get to this page on Mural?
This page, I sent the link to the chat. Use the link on the chat. Okay. So they are documenting it. So let's say, for example, you're the Scrum Master and you just don't want them to keep documenting without timing, right? You can now put, if you look up, there's a timer. I'm clicking on the timer now. So let's say I click on the timer. I'll say, I'm giving you guys, you can give them any time you want to give. But for this example, I'm going to give them 3 minutes, right? So after 3 minutes, we'll start reviewing. So let everybody start documenting. Then I'll start the timer. So the timer is on now for everybody to keep documenting what are the working agreements we should use for this project. Chini?
Hi, Florence. So my question will be, I got into this board as a visitor. Mm-hmm. How do you control access? if I chose to not enter my details, how do you know if I'm a member of your team or I'm just there to like throw blockers, for example?
Yeah, you control access. You can have private rooms. I'll show you. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Let me quickly get. See private rooms, right? So you can have private rooms. See Florence room. So if you use your room, you can lock it. So people in your organization, people that are not part of your team won't log in. Okay? And moreover, people can't just log in, right? You have to. If I didn't give you the link, I'm sure you will look for this thing. You won't see it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right. Thanks.
Yeah. So because I shared the link, everybody could get in, right? Jola, are you still raising up your hand or you're good?
Well, Florence, what if someone, like you shared the link now and maybe someone just shares it with some other person?
And they shared it with some other person, then you can do.
No, sorry about that. I was talking to someone.
Oh.
Yeah, Florence, I was talking to you.
Okay. So you can, as I said, you can lock up the access, right? So even if I share the link with you, but I don't have your emails, right? Look at something now. I can have groups, right? My workspaces, right? I can determine who should be my active members. Okay. You get what I'm saying? That's not what I wanted to do. Manage this. You understand? I can determine who should be my members, right? I can remove their access, right? I can say they should not be active or they should be active, right? So that will determine, you understand what I'm saying? So it doesn't mean that because you share the link with someone, it will work. Okay? Ella.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Florence. I wanted to ask, between this, you said Mural is a collaborative tool alongside with Confluence. So which do you prefer? Which is best to use? Or okay, I know it depends on the organization, right? But
exactly. It depends on the organization, depending on your team and all that. But for my organization, we use Mural. Mural,
I think it's more fun to work with.
Exactly. And we can, we can be seeing each other's updates immediately. But for Confluence, you have to save it before you now see every
person,
other.
Right?
Yeah,
and tag the person.
Or something like that. Before you see the old updates everybody has done, you publish your own. Every other person has to publish their own. Then you now see it. But this one is real time. You see it immediately. Okay. Is it clear?
Yes, it's clear. Thank you.
Okay, great. So we now have all our working agreement, and you can see that the timing is up. So as the Scrum Master, you say, okay, do you want more time? Is everything okay? And all that, right? There's something else I didn't show you again. Look at this now. Let's say someone said, I want to see at the bottom, someone said time box everything. At the top, another person said time box, right? Something that we do as a team is you can come to icons here, icon, right? Because somebody has already said time box. You don't want to write the same time box. So you come here and pick this thumb ups and say yes, right? So this thumb up is saying that for me as the Scrum Master, I know that this is not one person. This is two people saying time box is key. You get what I'm saying? Because time box is already there. They are thumbs in up that is they agree, right? So those are some of the things you want to learn. So when you see people doing thumbs up to this, you know that they agree with that stuff. When you see like a lot of thumbs up on one item, that one is showing you that it's very key. Everybody wants it. Okay, so those are the things you will learn about the working agreement. So you see like that, okay, they are it is important to them. So at the Scrum Master, what you want to now look at is you now say, okay, the time is over. So you're going to be asking your team, are you all okay? Do you want some more time? Do you think we should add more time? Then you add more time, right? If not, if everybody say they are fine, then you now say, okay, let's review our working agreement. Which one should we agree with? So, for example, for me, if as a Scrum Master, if I look at time box, I'll say, oh, almost 4 people want time box. So I can say, this is very key to the team, and that means time box will be one of our one of our working agreements. Everything we do must be time boxed, which is because it's key. Everybody wants it. See another one here. There's also another one here, right? So you want to be key. You can see openness, respect each other's opinion. So you start asking the team that, do you all agree? You can see that a lot of people are interested in having this as one of our this. So you add it to it, right? So when you have all that, another way you can do is that if you don't want to just be talking, you can say, okay, let's vote. So you start a voting session, right? So the voting session might say, okay, any member, maybe any member of the team, vote per person. You can only vote, maybe vote per person. What do you want to vote on? You want them to vote on the sticker notes, right? Entire canvas. Then you start. Then click a card to add votes, right? Then shift plus click to remove a vote. Then your vote is anonymous. Then we begin votes. Then everybody can vote, right? So we have 40 people. It will tell you at the top, 40 people are voting, right? You can see as the Scrum Master, people will click, they will vote for what they want, right? I just voted respect each other's opinion. You can see my mark on it. So if everybody too is voting, you'll see all those details, right? So when that voting is done, right, we can now, I can see that people are voting, 33 people are voting. So let's say that everybody has finished voting. Let's just agree that then we end votes. Yes, no one can continue voting when we end the session. So we are ending that session, right? So you can see 2 votes, share updates as they happen, right? Respect each other's opinion, 2 people voted. Opponent, 2 people voted. 1 vote, time box, keep it simple. Always move your stories when done. So as a team, we can now agree that this will be our working agreements, right? So you don't want to talk too much, just tell them to vote, right? So we've agreed that that's our working agreement. So now you can either download this, export as PDF, right? If you export it as PDF, you can now save it on your Jira. So now I have exported this. I'm going to save it as a working agreement. I'm saving it as a working agreement on the desktop, right? If I go back to my working agreement, you can decide to write based on what you agreed on. Scrum Master, you can write all this, yeah? Each other's opinion. You know why I like to write it out, especially because we are working in a remote environment. You can always show them maybe at the start of the sprint planning or when there's an issue, you can always refer them to go and check the team norms, right? You can also just, you know, that PDF that you did right now, the working agreement, you can also bring it here and have it here. So that every time they want to look at it, they click on the PDF, then you publish, right? So now we're done with our working agreement. So I'm going back to the checklist just to tick it that we're done with the working agreement. So we need to do work with team priming and skill matrix and environmental infrastructure readiness. Do you want to watch a video on the team norms just to see how a team that they are collaborating together in terms of in a war room together to see what they've done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing and share the video for you to see.
Okay, welcome everyone. We are here today to talk about the Agility Insurance Project. So before we get started, we're going to go through visioning and go through the various activities to understand what this project is about. So thanks to everyone who's here. And I would like to maybe start with something important called team norms. Team norms are ground rules, meeting norms that we set for ourselves to stay on track without distraction or dysfunction. So as all of you right now are sort of doing a lot of different other things, what do you guys think are some common meeting distractions, dysfunctions that we'd like to protect ourselves from that you've been experiencing through other meetings?
How about electronics by exception?
Electronics by exception, what does that mean, Kelly?
Phones off or on vibrate?
So let's put that cell phone on vibrate, please. Can we all just put our cell phones on vibrate now together? We'll just do the ceremony. Yay, thank you, that's awesome.
What about laptops?
Laptops. As wonderful as this looks that everyone has a laptop, if you guys don't mind, during our collaborative sessions, we'd like you to put your laptops down. I know, I'm so sorry, it's okay. It's okay. We do say laptops by exception, so if you've got a production support issue or something that you really need to look at, let us know and we can use that, but we'll give you enough breaks to take care of that. But it's really important for collaboration that we're all together. So let's put electronics by exception. What else, you guys? Be respectful.
Yeah, like one conversation at a time.
One conversation at a time. I love that one.
How about being on time?
I like that one.
I really like that one.
Be on time.
How about end on time?
End on time. Be, and can I put that over here?
You can.
End on time. What else? What are other common? Take notes, yes, okay. Take notes.
Stay focused on the topics.
Yes, please, as much as possible. And it will be okay if you start talking about something and it's off the topic, or maybe you're going into the details too early or something like that, we'll bring you back again. So stay. Do you guys think that actually happens quite a bit when we're doing requirements gathering, that we might want a solution too early as opposed to really just stick with what the problem is? Do you guys?
Definitely.
So what can we put up here to make sure that we focus on the not the solution, but focus on the actual problem that they have as opposed to the solution?
Do we have an agenda?
We do have an agenda,
purpose?
so stay on topic. Agenda, yeah. And then focus on the what, not the how. Right? Focus on what they want, not the how. Very good. Do you ever experience in meetings where people sometimes think that everything is not going to work? So all these solutions are just not going to go well?
So like the art of positive?
The art of the positive, yes. I love, tell us about that.
Yeah.
Being open-minded. Concentrate on what's possible.
Yes. So concentrate on what's possible. It doesn't mean that you can't bring up concerns or this is not going to work. It just means that, okay, so how are we going to solve that problem? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys. That's awesome. These are all of our team norms. So as we're facilitating this session, don't be upset if we have to sort of hold ourselves accountable for the team norms. Okay, here's the purpose of our simulation. Provide a glimpse into how an Agile team goes through the Agile life cycle. And our very first part of our agenda is going to be visioning. So understanding from our product owner, from our sponsor, from our business user, what is this project about? What is it that we're trying to accomplish? What's the purpose of the project? And then we're going to go through and brainstorm the requirements. Now that we've visioned, what are the actual stories that we have to deliver here? Then we need to slice some of them down. So a lot of times we'll have stories, but they'll be epics. So they'll be too big to get down. So we'll slice them and break them down into smaller chunks, and then we're going to do non-functional requirements. This usually gets missed because people are always thinking of, here's the functional stories. These are the foundational, architectural, anything that we need to do to be on the right page. And then we're going to go through prioritizing, and then sizing and estimating, and then finally developing a plan. And then our next part of the agenda is actually going into the iteration itself and experiencing some of the activities. So let's get started with visioning.
Okay. So I hope that is clear. I hope that helped. Any question? Let me check the chat. I know. Ella, do you have a question?
Old hand, sorry.
Okay. So now we'll go back to our checklist. We finalize with our team norms and working agreement. Erica said, can we get the link to the video? If you want it, I can give it to you, but you have to make payments, right? Okay? Not payment to me, okay? If you want it, I'll give it to you, then you have to make payment. Okay? I can send you the link. Okay? Yeah. So what is non-functional requirements? So non-functional requirements are requirements that help your functional requirement to work properly. Okay, so how do I put that? So your non-functional requirements are things that help your quality of service. So how would I say this now? You know, let's say that you want to build a website, right? Now that website, you know that on a normal day, it will take about, if almost 300 people goes on it, is fine, right? But during peak period, like during Christmas celebration, like during Thanksgiving, Black Friday, it takes more people, about 100,000, let's say 100,000 people, right? So you need that application, you need that web application to be scalable, right? You want it to be scalable so that it can have performance. So when you say performance requirements, that is a non-functional requirement. So it is not a feature on the website. It doesn't mean that your website should already have your own page, your contacts page, everything. But you want it to be able to perform, right? Even though when it is peak period, when it is normal period. So that performance requirement is a non-functional requirement. It's not a function of the website, but it is required for your website to work properly. You understand? Is it clear, Vanessa? Yes. So those non-functional requirements, I think, like performance, scalability, auto-scaling, there are a lot. There are different ones, right? Your organization will even have a list of what you should consider when you're doing a project, right? The non-functional requirements you should consider. Okay, usability, security, those are your non-functional requirements, because the website will still work. But if you are considering security requirements, you don't want an attack on your website, right? You don't want a DDoS, right? Distributed denial of service. That's like an attack on your website in such a way that nobody can even use the site. Nobody can log in. Nobody can do anything. So it's an attack. It's called DOS attack, okay? So you want to put all that in place. Okay, so the next thing we will talk about is team priming. So somebody asked about team priming the other time. So let's get to it. So anytime I want to edit, I just go to that arrow to edit, right? And when I'm done, I publish. Sometimes when I publish, I don't want everybody to know that I've published something, because when you publish, everybody in your team will get a notification that you've updated something. So sometimes if I publish something or I'm still working on it and I don't want everybody to be aware, I will do publish without notifying watchers. You get? So it will publish, it will save what I've done, but it will not tell everybody that I've done something. Okay? Yes. So the non-functional requirements are almost same for different projects, but the requirement, that non-functional requirement, I guess what I found, the topic is the same: security, performance, everything. But for each project, they will tell you what kind of performance requirement they need. For example, I can say, maybe for my website, I can say I want it to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? 9 to 5 p.m. You can say, 24 hours a day for 7 days a week. Here you can say your website, your requirement for that non-functional requirement for availability. I'm talking about availability now. Availability is a non-functional requirement. You can say you want it to be available between 9 to 5, 7 days a week. You can see that our requirement is different, but the main topic, main topic is availability, is the same thing. So what I mean by availability, security, performance, they are all the same thing, but for each project, the requirement for those topics will be different. Yeah, they are part of the things you talk about when you think about infrastructure. Yeah, because sometimes infrastructure might be required for them to operate, for it to happen. For example, maybe you're saying you want to do auto scaling, or maybe you realize that, okay, for me to be able to do that, I need to have a cloud service. You understand? So infrastructure might also be affected. It might affect your non-functional requirements. Okay, so let's do team priming, right? So what do they mean by team priming? It's still just about readiness. There's nothing bigger about team priming. So I'm going to go to morale and show you an example of what we mean by team priming. So I'm creating a morale. So create an open morale, blank canvas. Okay. So I've created a blank canvas, and I want to use a grid as well, right? So I'll call this team priming. Okay, so what do we mean by team priming? So team priming are just things we need as we are working on the project, right? Things we need to get ready. So team priming is you want to know what we need for this project, right? So that we can identify what our gaps are. What are the things we need to get for us to actually work on this project? So the things you'll be discussing here is, what are the tools I need? What are the tools you need for this project, right? What are the knowledge we require? So that you can know if there is a knowledge gap in the team, okay? Knowledge I need, right? So people I need and environments I need. So I'm going to share it again with everybody, share the link. You come in, and for this project, you start thinking of what do we need for this project to happen, right? So I'm going to start myself. I'm going to say for tools, I know that we need Jira. Okay? I'm going to just write one, and I'm going to give us 2 minutes, or let's say 2.5 minutes, 2.2 minutes, and start. So you're going to start documenting. So let's say for environment I know I'm going to need a testing environment, right? Testing environment. So everyone within the team is writing what they think we'll need for this project, right? I'm going to need a designer, right? Right? So everybody's documenting what they think they need for the project. So you go to your sticker notes and document. If I like something I think we need, I will go to the icons and start like adding to it. So let's say this icon, I'll come here, I'll say, okay, we need Confluence because it's going to be key for our documentation. I can come here and say, yes, we need a BA. We need to be able to, gather this requirement. Okay, we need analysis skill because we need to be able to analyze, right? So that's what we're speaking titles now. Okay, so you start documenting the things you need, right? So the more you play around with the collaboration tool, the more you know how to use it, the better it is for you, right? So you just learn. If you see that someone has documented something before, then you can like it and all that. Okay, so that is what a team primer looks like, right? So you are documenting all the things you know you will need for your project to be successful, right? So you said you need front end and back end, you need developers. Okay. Someone said we don't need a designer, right? You can say thumbs down that we don't need a designer for this project. Okay. So we need a Scrum Master. You can put thumbs up. We need an agile environment. Yeah, somebody is saying we need an agile environment, right? And stop moving the board. Okay, I know as we learn, we get better with it, okay? So our time is up now. So as the Scrum Master, you're facilitating this, you're saying, okay, I can see that conference, people want it, morale, people want morale, they want Jira and all that. Some um, some Scrum Master will not even waste their time to be looking at this, to look at the details, but they can see, they'll just say, you know what, let's do a vote, right? Now, voting session will start. Start voting, right? You're saying they can only vote one, and they should vote on the sticker notes, right? Any member that is here should be able to vote, not just you and the facilitator. They vote on the entire canvas. Sticker notes, then start. So everyone can start voting now. So I just did only one vote. Normally, you can do like 3 votes so that you can pick on different things, right? Just to make us faster. That's why I did that. So 1 vote, I voted for Jira, okay? So if normally I'll do like 5 votes so that, or I'll say, let's vote on tools first, then let's vote on knowledge after. Let's vote on people. Let's vote on this. So you click on all that. So we do all that. Then let's say we end the voting session. End voting session. So you can see 6 people voted for Jira. So Jira is a must tool for us, right? Lucid Chat. So for our processes, Lucid Chat is key, right? Confluence, BA skill, analysis skill. So this is how you document what the team wants. So you do it by voting, right? So that's what you do. And when you have that, your team priming, you can also export it to PDF and also add it to your Jira. So when you export, you save it, then you add it, okay? So sometimes it depends on the kind of products or the kind of Scrum Master you want to be or team member. Even after you finish doing this, you can go back to your documentation here and also write down all the things that the team needs, right? So it depends. Some people they'll just attach it, while some people will write down the details, okay? Team priming, okay? Team priming. Okay, so I'm not going to write down the details. I'm also just going to attach the file. Like if any member wants to see what we agreed on, you can put it there. Sometimes you can attach documentation. You now say, okay, these are the things we agreed on. Jira, Confluence, right? Lucid Chat, and so on, okay? So that's how you document. Then when you are done, you publish it, right? So that's your team priming, right? So you give people time. You know, we are just doing 2 minutes, 3 minutes. People, they'll be collaborating, they'll be talking, they'll be documenting, right? That's why I said that it can take between 1 day to 4 weeks, right? So depending on the time that the team has to document all that, right? So the next thing you want to work on is the skill matrix. So what is a skill matrix? A skill matrix is just to document all the skills that will be needed on your team, right? So that why are you doing your skill matrix? You are doing the skill matrix because you want to know the skill that people have on your project, right? Because the skill will help you determine that, okay, Erica has business analysis skills. Okay, okay. So if you need, I want to look for an example of a skill matrix for you. Let me see. I have one here. Okay, okay. I think it's on my other conference. Okay, let me look for it for you. Okay, so I'll show you an example of the skill matrix. Let me open a new conference page. Let me open GA4. Show you an example of a. See. One second. Okay, not here. Let me check another space. Let me check this one. Okay, see, this is a skill matrix. So this is what a skill matrix looks like. So an agile team is generally formed with a group of people with generally specialist skill. A skill matrix is a simple visual representation tool that radiates the agile team current skill composition. It displays the core competencies and as well secondary competencies. This can be used as a self-managing planning tool to organize adequate skill coverage for holidays and unforeseen events. You get what that is used for, right? So the team members will be there. You have all your skills. Remember, you've documented it before, right? So you have all the skill categories: business analysis, UX, testing. So you can do it this way, or you can use Excel. The top one is Excel. So if you say we're doing it this way, so if I put, let's say I put Diola's name here. I put Semi, and I put, let's add one more person, Erica here. I can say that, okay, Diola has a business analysis skill. I'm just looking for something I can use. Let's do status. I can say, now I'm just looking at something I can use as a, there are different stuff we can use there. I can say Diola has business analysis skill. Tammy has US skills. I can say Erica has both business analysis skills and also UX skills, right? So let's imagine maybe Diola has testing skills. So, but let's say that on this project, Erica is going to function as a BA. Tammy is functioning as a UX person, right? And Diola is functioning as a tester. So imagine that Erica, for unforeseen circumstances, Erica has an emergency and she's not around. Who on the team can perform Erica's role?
Diola.
Exactly, because Diola has that business analysis skill, so she can quickly fill in for Erica. So that's why you can use this to manage the team, right? To understand who has the other skills. And you can also tell them to put their level. Is it their primary skill, or is it just a secondary skill, right? Or sometimes you say, if you're aspiring to learn, put it there. So if, for example, if Temi says she's aspiring to learn how to do testing, so when Diola is working, sometimes Temi can join Diola as Diola is working to be learning, that testing skill. So this is what a skill matrix looks like. You put it in Excel, you can put it in Confluence, right? You just make sure that you give it to the team to document it, and you tag them, right? You tag them, you put all their names, right? So that when they come here, when you tag them, if they see it, they know that they need to come and do something here. So they will come over and put it there. So you tag their name. As long as they have access, you'll be able to tag their names, okay? And you publish it, okay? So that's an example of a skill matrix, and you do that to understand the skill of your team, okay? If the team is already in progress, if they're already working, right, you just now start looking at all these artifacts that exist within the organization to document all those things, to make sure that they exist. If they are not in existence, you are trying to make sure you put it in place. So that's your work as a Scrum Master. You are improving the process. You are making it better so that the team can be high performing. I won't say that because Erica is not around, nobody to be able to do that work. Then you now say, okay, we hold on or something, right? So it helps you so that your team can be high performing. And that's what you are looking toward. That's what you are trying to achieve at the end of the day, right? So you are putting all that in place to be able to achieve that, okay? So tomorrow we're going to start from here, okay? And try to finish up, okay? I know I said a lot of people to work on the product vision. Tomorrow I would like to see the product vision. I would like to see the personas, if you worked on it. So tomorrow we'll look at that. So we'll start from here tomorrow. So we have about 1 minute left. Do we have any questions? Any questions? Are we good? Erica.
Hi, just a quick question. Did you have a chance to check Clubhouse for the market analysis info?
No.
I'm just, I just wanted to remind you. You asked me to remind you.
Yeah. I will, but I've not done that.
Okay. All right. Thanks,
Okay.
Florence.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, I guess we're all good. So I guess we'll continue tomorrow. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Florence. Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.